Hello, dear friends. My name is Dr. Allen. I'm 82 years old, and for over 60 years I have practiced medicine, not just as a career, but as a lifelong journey of walking beside others through the most tender chapters of their lives. I've stood quietly at countless bedsides, held hands during final breaths, and listened to more stories than I could ever count. Some of those stories ended with peace. Others ended suddenly without warning, without time to say goodbye. One of the most sobering truths I've learned over the years is this: it's not always the big things that take us. It's not always cancer or a major stroke. Sometimes it's a habit. A small, seemingly harmless morning routine. Something we've done for decades without ever thinking twice. And yet, for an aging body, that familiar routine can become the very thing that tips the balance. I've seen it too many times. People collapsing in bathrooms, fainting by the bed, suffering heart strain just minutes after waking up, all because they didn't know their body needed something different now. That is why I'm here with you today, not as someone above you, but as someone among you. I no longer wear a white coat every day, and I don't move as fast as I once did, but I do carry with me a heart full of memory and the quiet responsibility to share what I've learned, while there's still time for someone to listen. I don't speak today to frighten you. I speak to protect you, to help you see what may have been invisible, to help you slow down before your body has no choice but to stop you. In this video, I want to gently walk you through 6 morning habits that many older adults, including myself, have followed for years. And yet, these habits, when left unchecked, can quietly lead to dizziness, blood pressure drops, fainting, heart strain, or worse. If you've ever woken up and rushed to the bathroom, splashed cold water on your face to wake up, eaten a heavy breakfast because someone told you it was good for you, or exercised while the morning air was still biting cold, this message is for you. Aging does not make us fragile, but it does require us to become more attentive. Our hearts, our blood vessels, our nervous systems, they speak more softly now. They don't shout when something is wrong, they whisper. And our job is to learn how to listen. So I invite you now to sit with me, not as a lecture, but as a conversation between old friends. Let us begin this journey not with urgency, but with care. Not with fear, but with awareness. Because the best medicine we can offer ourselves at this age is presence. Gentle, daily, deliberate presence. Let's begin. The first habit I'd like to speak about may sound insignificant, but I've seen it end lives. It's something so ordinary that most people never give it a second thought. Getting out of bed too quickly after waking up. Years ago, I lost a dear friend, a man I had known for decades because of this very thing. It was just after 5 in the morning. He had always been disciplined, always started his day early. That morning, like every other, he woke up and immediately tried to stand and walk to the bathroom, but within seconds his body gave way. The blood hadn't yet reached his brain. He collapsed right beside his bed and never opened his eyes again. You see, during sleep, our blood pressure naturally drops. The body enters a state of deep rest, almost like a power-saving mode. When we suddenly rise, especially in those first few moments of waking, the body doesn't have time to catch up. The blood moves slowly, the heart is still adjusting, and the brain, momentarily deprived of oxygen, can shut down without warning. For younger people, this may cause a moment of dizziness, but for older adults, whose blood vessels are less flexible and whose hearts may already be working harder, the consequences can be far more serious. I've seen elderly patients faint in the hallway, fall backward into hard surfaces, and end up hospitalized with broken hips or internal injuries, all because they stood up too soon. And each time it breaks my heart, not because it was sudden, but because it was preventable. So what should you do instead? The answer is simple, but it requires a small act of patience, an act that could save your life. When you first open your eyes in the morning, don't rush. Don't sit up right away. Allow your body to return gently to the waking world. Lie still for at least 3 to 5 minutes. Breathe deeply, slowly in through your nose, and softly out through your mouth. Feel your chest rise. Let your heart catch its rhythm. Then begin to move your toes, your ankles. Roll your wrists gently. These small movements awaken the circulation in your limbs and signal your body that it's time to start the day. Only then, when you feel ready, should you slowly roll to your side. Plant one hand on the mattress or nearby surface and gently push yourself into a seated position. Sit for a moment. Let the world come back into focus. And when you stand, do so with care, like someone offering their body the respect it deserves. This small shift, this 3-minute pause, has helped hundreds of my patients feel steadier in the morning. More importantly, it has kept them safe. It's such a quiet thing, but sometimes the quietest moments are the ones that protect us most. Your body at this stage of life doesn't need to be rushed. It needs to be accompanied. So give it the time, give it your attention, and above all, give it your kindness. Let's continue. The second habit is one I've witnessed far too many times in emergency rooms and long-term care facilities, and yet it's one of the most deeply ingrained routines in our daily lives, especially among elders. It's the act of going straight to the bathroom immediately after waking up. Now that may sound harmless. After all, it's natural. We wake, we feel the urge, and we follow it. Many of my patients have told me, "Doctor, I've done it this way for 50 years. I wake up and the first thing I do is head to the bathroom." But sadly, I've seen where this familiar path leads not to relief, but to danger. You see, the transition from sleep to activity is already a delicate shift for the aging body. But when we move straight from the bed into a cold bathroom, often barefoot in the dark and still half asleep, we're placing a tremendous burden on our cardiovascular system. And if we strain during those first minutes trying to force a bowel movement or empty a full bladder without giving the body time to prepare, our blood pressure can drop suddenly. The result? Lightheadedness, loss of consciousness, a fall, a stroke, or worse. I once cared for a woman in her 70s, sharp, active, independent, but one morning her daughter found her unconscious on the bathroom floor. No prior warning, no illness, just a habit repeated for decades. The doctors said it was orthostatic hypotension, a sharp drop in blood pressure from standing and straining too soon. She recovered, thank God, but not without a broken hip and months of painful rehabilitation, and yet it could have been prevented if only she had paused. So what can you do? The first step is one of awareness. Don't treat the morning as a race, treat it as a re-entry. When you wake, give your body those precious minutes to gently return to balance. Sit on the bed, breathe. Then, before heading to the bathroom, take a few sips of warm water. This helps to gently stimulate bowel movement without strain and replenishes the fluids lost during the night. Then walk a few steps slowly around your room. Feel your feet on the floor. Let your blood circulate, your joints loosen. If it's winter or your home is chilly, drape a shawl around your shoulders. Put on warm socks. Our vessels constrict in the cold, and the shift from a warm bed to a cold tile floor is more than just uncomfortable. It's a physiological shock. And once you do go to the bathroom, take your time. Avoid pushing or holding your breath. Let your body work with you, not against you. If things don't move right away, don't panic. You are not on anyone else's schedule anymore. Your body is like an old friend. It deserves patience, presence, and gentleness. We often think of danger as something distant, but sometimes it's in the most ordinary moments, like the steps between your bed and the toilet. And when we learn to honor those moments, we're not just protecting ourselves from harm, we're practicing a deeper form of self-respect. Let's move gently to the next habit, one that many think of as refreshing, but for the aging body, it can become a hidden shock. The third habit may seem harmless, refreshing even. In fact, for many, it's a tradition as old as memory itself, splashing cold water on the face first thing in the morning. It helps me wake up, people often say. It tightens the skin, it clears the mind. And in our younger years that may have been true, but with age the body begins to respond differently. The vessels beneath our skin, especially those in the face, become more fragile, less elastic. The heart too becomes more sensitive to sudden changes, and when cold water hits the face, particularly after hours of sleep, it triggers a reflex. Blood vessels constrict, heart rate spikes, and blood pressure can shift dramatically. For someone over 70, this is not just a jolt, it's a shock. I remember an elderly gentleman I once treated. He had a habit of washing his face with cold water every winter morning, claiming it kept him sharp and alert. One morning, after rinsing with water straight from the tap, he collapsed. Chest pain, shortness of breath. It was a vasospasm triggered by sudden cold exposure. He survived, but the fear in his eyes told me everything. He had never imagined that something so simple, so routine, could nearly take his life. And he's not alone. I've heard countless stories, people feeling lightheaded, dizzy, even fainting just minutes after washing their face with cold water, especially in colder months when the body is already under strain. So what can we do instead? Warmth is the key, gentleness is the guide. Before you wash your face in the morning, test the water with your hand. Make sure it's not cold, just comfortably warm, like a touch of sunlight. This warmth signals to your body that it's safe. It allows vessels to stay relaxed, circulation to remain stable, and the heart to stay calm. And don't splash. Instead, cup the water gently, press it to your face slowly as if you were greeting yourself with tenderness. Think of it as welcoming your face back to the world, not shocking it into wakefulness. Use soft motions. Close your eyes. Let the act become a ritual of presence, not performance. Especially in winter, consider warming the bathroom a bit before your morning wash. Even small chills can cause your blood pressure to rise or fall unpredictably, and if you tend to have cold hands or feet, keep a soft towel nearby to dry quickly and stay warm. This change may seem small, but I promise you your heart will thank you, because as we age, the body doesn't ask for drama, it asks for care. It no longer needs to be pushed, it simply asks to be accompanied. And as we continue, we'll look at the next habit. Another long-held belief about health that, when done too quickly or too heavily, can actually burden the very system it's meant to nourish. I'm speaking, of course, about breakfast. Let's talk about it. The fourth habit we must reconsider is one many of us were taught from childhood: eating breakfast as soon as we wake up. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, they say, and I agree, it is important. But what we often forget is that timing matters just as much as the meal itself, especially in older age. When we first wake, our body is still transitioning from a state of rest. Blood flow remains centered around the vital organs that sustained us through the night. Digestion, however, is not fully awake yet. If we rush to eat a heavy meal, especially one that is salty, greasy, or large in portion, we're demanding a sluggish digestive system to work too hard too soon. The heart must pump more blood to the stomach, the blood pressure can fluctuate, and if you're already dealing with hypertension or cardiac issues, that burden can be too much. I recall one woman, a patient in her late 70s, who prided herself on making a full breakfast every morning: rice, soup, fried fish, side dishes. "It's how I show I'm still strong," she would say. But over time she began to feel lightheaded, short of breath, and her doctor diagnosed her with postprandial hypotension, a drop in blood pressure after eating, caused by her heart struggling to redirect blood flow to her gut so early in the day. It was a lesson she learned the hard way. So what should we do instead? Begin the day with space, give the body time to rise. Once you've taken a few minutes in bed to breathe, once you've sat up slowly and walked gently, wait at least 30 minutes before eating. Let your system settle. Let your heart and stomach find their rhythm. When it's time to eat, start with something light and warm: a small bowl of rice porridge, a banana in slices, a few spoonfuls of oats softened with warm water or milk. These are not only easier to digest, they gently awaken the digestive fire without overwhelming it. And most importantly, eat slowly. Sit in a quiet place. Don't multitask or eat standing. Let your body feel safe while eating. Chew each bite thoroughly, 20 times, 30 if you can. This may sound excessive, but every extra chew makes digestion easier, especially when saliva production and stomach acids have declined with age. Avoid cold foods straight from the fridge, especially in winter. Cold shocks the stomach and can cause cramping, bloating, or even a sudden drop in core temperature, especially for those with weaker circulation. And remember, breakfast should nourish, not challenge. If you find yourself feeling heavy, sleepy, or breathless after eating, it's a sign to go lighter, slower, and warmer. With just this small change, many of my patients have told me they feel more energized throughout the day. Some even say their mood improves and their blood pressure becomes more stable. Next, we'll talk about something that often comes with breakfast, or even before it, and is deeply loved by many: a warm cup of coffee or a sweet morning drink. But as we'll see, for older bodies, these too can carry unexpected risks if we're not careful. Let's continue. The fifth habit I'd like to speak about may surprise you, not because it seems unusual, but because it's so common, so beloved, that few stop to question it. Drinking coffee, sweet beverages, or cold drinks on an empty stomach. For many, a cup of coffee is the ritual that begins the day. The aroma, the warmth, the gentle bitterness. It's familiar, comforting. Some reach for energy drinks or canned fruit juice, thinking it will wake the body up and boost the mood. Others pour a glass of cold water straight from the refrigerator, believing it will refresh the system. But let me tell you this, especially if you are over 60, what soothes the mind may not always soothe the body, especially not the stomach. After a long night's rest, the stomach is empty, its lining more exposed, and the acids within more concentrated. Introducing caffeine or sugar at this moment, especially without any buffer, can create a surge of acid production that irritates the stomach wall. Add to that the chill of a cold drink, and you now have a sudden contraction of blood vessels, slowed digestion, and a cold shock to the core. For younger bodies, this might pass unnoticed, but for older adults, especially those with gastritis, reflux, or reduced stomach lining, this can result in bloating, heartburn, nausea, or even gastric ulcers over time. I remember a man in his 70s. He had never missed his morning coffee in 50 years, but one winter he began experiencing sharp stomach pain. Endoscopy revealed irritation and early-stage ulcers. I thought coffee was harmless, he told me, but I never thought about what it was doing to me on an empty stomach. So what can we do? First, we must return to what the body truly needs in the early morning hours: gentle hydration, not stimulation. Before anything else, start your day with a warm glass of water, not hot, not cold, just enough to match the warmth of your body. If you'd like flavor, add a thin slice of lemon or pear. Barley tea, a beloved option in many traditions, is especially good. Caffeine-free, easy on the stomach, and naturally soothing. Let your first drink of the day be one of care, one that doesn't rush your body but gently welcomes it. If you do love coffee and you wish to keep it in your routine, enjoy it after your first small meal when your stomach is no longer empty and vulnerable, and try not to drink it too strong or too fast. This is not about giving up what you love. It's about giving your body the conditions it needs to receive it safely. And as we prepare to close this morning journey, there's one more habit I must mention, perhaps the one most disguised as healthy: early morning exercise. Yes, movement is life. But as we'll see next, when and how we move makes all the difference, especially as the seasons grow colder and the body grows older. Let us continue. The final habit I want to speak about may come as the greatest surprise, because it's one we've long been told is good for us. And indeed, exercise is essential at every stage of life. But like all things, the timing and the method matter, especially when we grow older. I'm speaking of exercising too early in the morning, particularly outdoors in the cold. I once had a patient, Mr. Han, a disciplined man in his 70s who prided himself on rising before dawn to walk in the park. One winter morning, just after 5 a.m., he collapsed mid-stride. The paramedics found him lying near a bench, breathless, his heart in distress. "I thought I was doing everything right," he told me later from his hospital bed. "I just wanted to stay strong." But the truth is, even strong hearts need time to wake. When we sleep, our heart rate slows, our body temperature drops, and our muscles stiffen slightly in rest. Upon waking, the cardiovascular system is still adjusting. Blood vessels are narrow, the heart hasn't yet reached its steady rhythm, and the lungs haven't fully expanded. To step outside into the cold and ask that body to move vigorously is like asking an engine to rev to full speed without warming it up. The strain can lead to a sudden rise in blood pressure, heart palpitations, or in vulnerable individuals, angina, arrhythmia, or even heart attack. Cold air, too, is not a neutral element. It causes the blood vessels to constrict further, reducing oxygen delivery and making the heart work harder. I've seen more cases of early morning cardiovascular events in winter than I care to count, and nearly all of them began with a well-intentioned walk or jog. So what should we do? Honor your body's rhythm. Align with the sun, not the clock. The best time for physical activity, especially for elders, is between 9 and 11 a.m. after you've been awake for a while, after you've eaten something light, after your body has had a chance to stretch and breathe. Begin gently. Don't rush into aerobic exercise or strenuous movement. Start with a few arm circles, slow shoulder rolls, neck stretches. If it's cold outside, begin with light movement indoors. Walk from room to room. Do simple yoga poses. Follow a short Tai Chi video. Warm the joints. Ease the breath. Awaken the limbs. And when you do go out, dress warmly. Layer your clothing. Protect your head and hands. Let your body feel safe, not startled. If there's wind or frost, consider staying indoors and rescheduling your walk for later. And above all, listen. Listen to the quiet cues your body gives you, a stiffness in the knees, a racing breath, a heaviness in the chest. These are not obstacles, they are invitations to slow down. We often say motion is medicine, but medicine, when given at the wrong time or in the wrong dose, can become harmful. Exercise is not about proving strength, it's about supporting life. Let it meet you where you are, not where you once were. And now, as we bring these 6 habits into view, each one seemingly small, yet deeply powerful, I invite you to reflect not just on what you do each morning, but how you do it. Because the truth is, morning is not just the beginning of a day. For an aging body, it is the most sacred window, a chance to return gently, to rise with grace, and to choose presence over pressure. Let us close with that in mind. And so, my dear friends, we come to the close of this quiet conversation. I used to believe that living a long life was mostly about good genes, or the right medication, or perhaps having access to advanced medical care. For many years, I measured health by the numbers, blood pressure, cholesterol levels, heart rates on monitors. But the longer I've lived, and the more people I've had the honor of walking alongside in their final years, the more I've come to understand something simpler, something deeper. A long life is not built in the hospital room, but in the hush of morning. Not in the medicine cabinet, but in the gentle choices we make when the world is still quiet. A long life, more than anything else, is often built upon the care we give ourselves when no one is watching. If you are in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, or if you are caring for someone in those tender chapters of life, I want to offer you a simple invitation. Do not let the morning begin in a rush. Do not let it begin in coldness or worry, or with the weight of a to-do list. The morning, especially for aging bodies, is the most vulnerable and sacred time of day. The heart is waking, the vessels are adjusting, the breath is finding its rhythm again. In those early minutes, what you offer your body can echo throughout the entire day and far beyond. So tomorrow, before you rise, I ask you to pause. Rest in your breath a little longer. Let the light filter in slowly. Sit on the edge of the bed and feel the earth beneath your feet. Sip a glass of warm water, not just for hydration, but as a gesture of kindness. And if you have the strength, look in the mirror and smile. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are still here, still living, still loving. There is no pill that can do for your body what peace can. There is no medical breakthrough more powerful than a morning that begins without violence, without cold shocks, without fear. And there is no act of love more profound than giving your body the softness it has earned. One breath, one sip, one slow step at a time. If this message has touched you in any way, if you found comfort, understanding, or perhaps just a quiet reminder you needed today, I humbly invite you to subscribe to this channel, give this video a like so that more people may find it. And if there's someone in your life, a parent, a spouse, a neighbor, who might benefit from these words, please share this with them. You never know whose morning might be changed by something as small as a gentle suggestion. Thank you truly for letting me be a part of your day. Take good care of yourself, and until we meet again, may your mornings be slow, your body be safe, and your heart peaceful.